They all look like frostbite balls until you nuke them, but there's no going back on a meh meatball. From freezer trash to Nonna's homemade, we're ranking store-bought frozen meatballs from yuck to oh yeah. Well, you gotta start somewhere, and when it comes to our official ranking, regrettably Sam's Choice Premium Angus meatballs are anything but premium. And the jury's still out on whether they're really Angus. At the very least, they're edible, but why spend your money on subpar meatballs if you don't have to? This brand has several issues. Most notably, there's an obvious bad taste resembling something like an old soybean burger or stale breakfast sausages. And even the addition of sauces and seasonings can't mask the intense baked-in, tongue-burning oregano flavor.
That's a spicy meatball!
It doesn't help that there's a strong aftertaste, too. These meatballs are on the smaller side and are unlikely to satiate your taste buds in the ways you would hope. Official declaration, total dud. Silver lining, it only gets better from here. Don't be fooled by the name. The Cooked Perfect brand produces one thing: meatballs. These come in the form of gluten-free, turkey, Swedish, Angus beef, Homestyle, organic, and several others. But the unfortunate reality is that they're all rather inadequate. These meatballs are a decent size, which is nice when it only takes a few to count as a meal. But the biggest offense is the taste and texture. The flavors are bland, and the texture is especially dry and rubbery, with an unappetizing puffed and spongy feel. There is some seasoning as a minor consolation, but it's not great either. When it comes to these meatballs, they are not at all cooked perfect like the name would appear to suggest. Trader Joe's offers novelty items, specialized wines, and healthier alternatives. Therefore, it's no surprise that the store has its own brand of flame-broiled turkey meatballs. In general, turkey is dry by default, so while these are moist enough, don't expect any real juiciness in the bite. They're also lacking a certain airiness, but sauce may help. If you want to save a few calories with the meat and drown these in a soup, a rich spaghetti sauce, or cook them in an air fryer, they won't completely disappoint. And while ground turkey doesn't exactly reinvent the flavor wheel, on the flip side, at least there's no nasty aftertaste. The one-bite size means they're great for kids. You might also notice a slight browning, which adds a nice textural element. However, that means cooking them in the oven is a better option than nuking them in the microwave. Overall, these land squarely at dull, but edible. Rayo's homemade pork and beef meatballs get brownie points for coming with their own marinara sauce. Despite the relatively lower rank on this list, they have a pleasant texture that's tender and juicy on the inside and lightly crispy on the outside. Inspired by the famous Rayo's Italian restaurant in New York City, they don't exactly replicate the in-person dining experience of the world-class eatery, but they do a good enough job at emulating some of the tasty accents.
Anyone who loves meatballs, look at this. Oh my God, there's meatball bloggers out there that are freaking out right now that I'm in the kitchen of Rayo's.
If you prefer your own sauce or like sauceless meatballs, Rayo's may not be for you. Still, the sauce isn't completely overwhelming. Both components are relatively underseasoned too, which is a bummer. You're probably gonna need to load up on your favorite seasonings to make these really pop. Stouffer's is a popular brand of frozen meals known for classic fare like lasagna, meatloaf, and mac and cheese. So it makes sense that their Swedish meatballs would make our list. This frozen Swedish meatballs dish is a complete meal for one, coming with buttery fettuccine, parsley, and a generous helping of sour cream sauce. For anyone jonesing for the famous IKEA Swedish meatballs, this brand just might be able to satisfy that craving. The meatballs themselves are hearty and filling, with a deliciously tender texture that's not too dense or plagued by weirdly tough bits. The addition of pasta is a godsend, saving you the time and effort of having to prepare an additional accompaniment. Whether you need a quick meal or possibly just a late-night snack, Stouffer's frozen Swedish meatballs are definitely worth a try. For less than $5, it's not a bad deal at all. 60 seconds in the microwave and you've got yourself a Swedish meatball dish featuring a savory cream sauce over a bed of tender pasta. The Compleats brand by Hormel is a pre-made meal that's easy to prepare and enjoyable snacking. Whether you need something fast before the kids get home from school or you've only got a 15-minute lunch break, stock up on a few of these meals for a good time.
This is gonna be so good.
Aww. The creamy sauce perfectly complements the meatballs and pasta, adding a luscious, almost indulgent touch to the overall dish. The only problem is the portion size. It is laughably small and anything but a complete meal. You're likely to be left feeling hungry, so you may want to add your own sides, like garlic bread or roasted vegetables. Although this dish is more like a quick snack than a meal, just microwave yourself a portion and the hard part is over. Looking for an innovative twist to the traditional frozen meatball formula? Then this might be the dish for you. Crafted with premium high-quality chicken, the outer coating is a delectable blend of Parmesan cheese and breadcrumbs, adding delicate crispiness to each bite. These poultry meatballs look just as good as they taste, and the golden brown goodness will make you salivate. But the real kicker is the mozzarella inside each meatball, which really takes it to a whole new level of pizzazz. One bite of these savory spheres and you'll immediately experience how the crunch perfectly complements the gooey mozzarella inside. This unique combo creates a nice textural balance and fills your mouth with a variety of flavors. The chicken, crust, and cheese all blend together in harmony. Whether you eat them in a pasta dish or as a sandwich, you really can't go wrong. Picky eaters will probably love these, but the mozzarella cheese isn't for everyone despite adding a delightful touch. There's also a strong garlic taste that may not be everyone's cup of tea. This is a novelty product though, so if cheesy Parmesan breaded chicken meatballs are not your thing, pass this one right on by. When the brand Impossible Foods came onto the scene in 2016, some people were a bit skeptical. With a variety of plant-based meat substitutes readily available to consumers, it was unclear whether these healthier alternatives would make a splash in an already saturated food market. But they very much did. The Impossible plant-based meatballs provide a decidedly meat-like experience wrapped in a spherical concoction of soy protein. The result doesn't really taste like a classic meatball, but is surprisingly enjoyable for what it is. These vegan orbs of soy are highly versatile and can be enjoyed even by non-vegetarian consumers. The taste is phenomenal and the texture is appetizing without trying to perfectly replicate the flavor profile of a traditional meatball. This brand stays in its lane and does it very well. With the right seasonings and sauces, you probably wouldn't even be able to tell these were Impossible meatballs.
If you can't taste the difference, then hold up your buns!
They absorb whatever you throw at them like a sponge, so you can customize these guys however you like. The nutritional content is the most distinguished feature, having no cholesterol, artificial preservatives, animal antibiotics, and hormones. Have your fill without feeling guilty. The impossible is now made possible. When you think of well-known frozen meatball brands, Farm Rich is probably one of the first to come to mind. While it offers much more than meatballs, the Farm Rich breaded mozzarella sticks are truly iconic. The company is beloved for providing high-quality food at an affordable price point. For starters, these flame-broiled Italian-style meatballs hit all your classic flavor and texture sensibilities. Whether you pop them in a slow cooker or the microwave, you'll get the tender juiciness you've come to expect from a really good meatball. At first bite, your mouth fills with a delectable moistness as the flavors saturate your taste buds. Savory but not too salty, they offer an authentic Italian meatball experience. These have such an amazing flavor that you can even eat them without the help of sauce or condiments. Have yourself a meatball sub and go to town on game night. The versatility of these meatballs is the main highlight and clearly reveals why they're so popular with consumers. Regular meatballs can take forever to cook all the way through, but not these cuties. Made with fresh beef, pork, and chicken, it only takes a few minutes to prep a satisfying meal. Whether you're eating solo or with the family, Farm Rich brand Italian-style meatballs won't let you down. It's easy to love Johnsonville's classic Italian-style meatballs as each bite warms your belly and delights your taste buds. The brand is famous for its highly flavorful products, which can be bold to a fault for those of us who are more sensitive to seasonings. A blend of garlic, spices, and other Italian-style seasonings helps elevate the experience of enjoying these pork-based meatballs. The breading adds a nice texture with every bite, creating a sponge effect for your gravy and sauces. You'll never have to worry about these meatballs tasting like meat-shaped cardboard. While the breading may not appeal to everyone, you won't be able to deny that the flavor is divine.
Tastes great. It's got great texture.
Because they're so well seasoned, it takes some pressure off trying to dress them up. If you want to eat them just as they are, go for it. That's how you know you've got a great meatball. Anything else is just gravy. Without a doubt, Johnsonville knows its meatballs and its meatball-loving consumer base very, very well. Of all the brands featured on this list, Rosina's Italian-style meatballs are the most like a little taste of Italy right in your kitchen. Basically, Rosina is the favorite nonna of frozen Italian-style meatballs. This brand has been around since the 60s and has become an American icon thanks to its delectable meatballs that blend authentic flavors and texture to produce a knockout crowd favorite. With a blend of herbs, spices, and Romano cheese, each bite of these beef, pork, and chicken meatballs whisk you away to the streets of Rome. These are quintessential Italian-style meatballs you don't want to miss. If you want to enjoy your Italian meatballs with a side of zero effort, these little puppies are pretty much calling your name. Whether you're serving them with spaghetti for a classic dinner experience, or you're tucking them between mini buns to create all-American sliders, these meatballs consistently serve up a juicy burst of flavor and welcome texture to any dish. Meatball pasta, meatball paninis, meatball soup, you really can't go wrong here no matter how you dice and dish them up. Serve them glazed and on toothpicks next time you host, and you'll have to kick your guests out the door when you're ready for them to leave. The one thing that could melt any foodie's heart is a dish that tastes homemade, just like mom's cooking. And farm-rich Homestyle meatballs fit the bill. They dish up a familiar flavor that's homey and comforting, like a hug from grandma, but for the taste buds in your mouth. These frozen flame-broiled Homestyle meatballs don't need anything extravagant or novel to set them up. The package serves exactly what you expect. That's why Farm Rich has become a reliable brand for meatball aficionados and casual cooks alike. The texture is the best part of these meatballs, offering a melt-in-your-mouth quality that's completely irresistible. Each bite is rich but also airy, allowing you to float away on a dreamy sky of puffy meatball clouds. With its extensive history in the meatball game, Farm Rich has really excelled at dominating the frozen meatball market with a perfect recipe for scrumptious success. Treat yourself to the best the freezer section has to offer and enjoy the delicious embrace of these #1 ranked Homestyle frozen meatballs.